Mostly dry, comfy day of weather too. High temperatures in the mid and upper 60s, but more rain on the way to start the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Make your work easier with Eagle Rentals of Troutman and Statesville. Eagle Rentals has generators, heaters, fans, painting equipment, floor care equipment, pressure washers, lighting equipment, and lawn care equipment. Plus, Eagle Rentals has construction equipment like forklifts, bobcat loaders, backhoes, excavators, and more. Reserve online at eaglerentals.com. That's eaglerentals.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. You have made it. You are listening to the Scoreboard. 844 Studio 4. That'll get you right here into the studio, part of the program. Anything you want to talk about, you can see it right here on the Scoreboard. Man, what a day of basketball we had yesterday. And today, the NHL is starting to steal the show. Look, I told you, the NHL trade deadline is the most entertaining trade deadline that we have in sports. And we've had quite a few trades already. The deadline isn't for another couple of days. We got Friday's the deadline. I think it's it's either at noon or 3 o'clock, but it is on Friday. And today, there were quite a few trades. Not any from the Carolina Hurricanes, who definitely should be making a move or two. But we'll make sure we cover that for you because, man, it's gonna be quite the run to Friday. A lot of trades are going to be taking place over the course of 2.5 days. Anyway, 844 Studio 4, like I said, gets you right here into the studio. We got a bit to talk about today. We got to get into high school basketball. We had the high school basketball third round of the playoffs take place last night. We have high school baseball going on. Yes, baseball. Few schools that were in competition last night, and we actually have a few more coming up, so we want to make sure you are kept up to date on that. College basketball, a lot of games from last night. North Carolina was in action. There was an upset, a pretty big one in my opinion. We'll make sure that gets covered. And a big game with a 3 playing a 12 seed. So we want to keep you up to date on that. Also, it's time to start looking ahead to Sunday, because the NASCAR Cup Series heads to Phoenix. And this is a big weekend for these drivers. Now, I'm not going to say it's make or break, but you got to have a good car. You have to have a good setup for Phoenix. This is the test. When we get to November, we're going to come back to Phoenix, and there's going to be 4 drivers competing for a championship. So you want to make sure that your car, you know what kind of a setup you want to have on that car when we get back there in November. So this weekend is going to be a very big weekend for a lot of these Cup Series drivers. Also, the NBA still going on. We're getting closer to playoffs, and Formula One heads to Saudi Arabia. Maybe we'll couple that in with our motorsports talk. Also in the news, and I want to make sure I talk about this, the NFL. We're going to have to talk about this. The Buffalo Bills. Holy moly. You know, we talk about the salary cap a lot, and the salary cap is fake, and all of these teams can just move money around and continue to have salary cap. Well, eventually it catches up to you, moving money around, pushing contracts. And for the Buffalo Bills, the day of reckoning is now. It's today. There have been quite a few moves in the Buffalo Bills organization, a team that was, man, they were one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, the past 3 years or so now? It's going to be interesting where this team is as we head into next season. 844 Studio 4, getting you right here into the studio. Let's get into the men's basketball playoffs for high school. Third round. And we know who's going to be playing in that fourth round matchup now in all of these. These are not the finals, not the semifinals, more like quarterfinals, if you will. Starting with 1A, I know we haven't talked too much 1A. That's because there's not many local teams that are still in the 1A. But I want to make sure I talk about these schools as they are moving pretty far along now in the playoffs. We talked about Mountain Island Charter a little bit, being the 23 seed, moving through the playoffs pretty well. Well, their day finally came, unfortunately. Corvian Community High School was able to beat them 82-51. That's the 2 seed. They match up in round number 4 against Bishop McGuinness, the 3 seed. So as chaotic as it is, rounds 1 and 2, the farther into the season we get, into the playoffs we get, the more everything starts to become chalk. And on the other side of that bracket, South Stokes, the 1 seed, is going to play Thomasville, the 5 seed, who just upset Piedmont, the 4 seed, 85-81. Looking at the 2A bracket, oh boy, Pine Lake, my alma mater. Unfortunately, they lost to West Stokes High School. That is the 12 seed. So we still have some Cinderella stories out here in high school basketball. West Stokes is one of those. As the 12 seed, everybody that they have played except for one team is better than them in the standings, better than them in the rankings. So they have just been tearing through. They are going to round number 4 to take on Reedsville. That's the 1 seed. And on the other side of the bracket, Randleman, the 6 seed, will be taking on Salisbury, the 2 seed. Bandy's High School, a 23 seed. We've been talking about them as well, going through the playoffs as a 23 seed, upsetting everybody. Well, unfortunately, Salisbury was way too much for them to handle as Bandy's fell 90-58 in that one, eliminating them from the playoffs. 3A, we still have Hickory High School dominating. A win against the 8 seed Piedmont, 70-43. Woo! Moving on, they're going to play Southern Guilford. I think it's Guilford, in the 4th round. Southern Guilford just beat Crest High School 76-67. And if you remember, a couple of weeks ago in round number 1, Crest High School was actually the team that eliminated Statesville High School from the playoffs. So the other side of that bracket, we got an upset. Look, we have a Cinderella team. Ben L. Smith High School, 14 seed. They're going to be going up against the 2 seed Central Cabarrus. That's your 3A bracket. And finally, the 4A men's bracket. We've been covering Lake Norman all year long. One of the best teams in the area. 2 losses on the year in the season. 1 loss in conference. They drew the 2 seed in the playoffs, and they are moving on. They beat Grimsley 74-61. Their next game is actually going to be against a team that was lower ranked than Grimsley, but it's the playoffs. You can't take anyone for granted. The 2 seed Lake Norman takes on the 11 seed Chambers. And on the other side of that West bracket, Myers Park, the 1 seed, taking on number 5 North Mech. I'll tell you what, we are not nearly done with our high school chat as of yet. We're going to have to talk about this in segment number 2. So don't go anywhere. The high school sports talk will continue on the other side of this break. We got the women's bracket to go through, and then we got to talk some baseball. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Scoreboard will be back right after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, rain tapering off as we head through the rest of the evening, really starting to dry it out after midnight tonight. Overnight low temperatures will dip down to around 50 by early on Thursday morning. Nice day on the way for Thursday. We'll start drying it out. Sunshine is back. We're up around 70 for the afternoon. And Friday looking like a mostly dry, comfy day of weather too. High temperatures in the mid and upper 60s, but more rain on the way to start the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. MuralFest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Sam Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at muralfest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Coin collectors, get ready! The Statesville Coin and Currency Show is coming to the Statesville Civic Center March 16th and 17th, featuring over 60 tables of some of the finest coins around. For more info, contact Bill Brewer of Carolina Prospectors in Statesville. The Statesville Coin and Currency Show, Statesville Civic Center, March 16th and 17th. Eagle Rentals in Statesville is celebrating you and the wonderful community they serve. Come to Eagle Rentals Customer Appreciation Day, March 16th from noon until 4 p.m. Fun for the whole family. Kids and adults are welcome. Eagle Rentals Customer Appreciation Day, March 16th, 3435 East Broad Street in Statesville. Want to see a Tyrannosaurus Rex? How about a Triceratops? Dinosaur World Live is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Friday, March 29th. That's not the only fun family adventure coming to the Kane Center for the Arts. Dinosaur World Live, Friday, March 29th. For tickets and to see the entire spring lineup, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Happening now at Randy Marion Ford Chevrolet in Statesville.
How about a new car, truck, or SUV? What a better way to start 2024 than at Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville. Randy Marion Ford Lincoln taking advantage of a special purchase of 2023 Mazda CX-30s. These are the carbon editions starting at $24,770. You pick the color. Here today, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, Randy Marion Ford Lincoln. We have got the king of price deal. Like always, 2024, come see them today.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here, segment number 2. Oh, what a day it is. It is a Wednesday, isn't it? Man, I don't know why I thought it was Tuesday for a minute. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. Why did I feel like it was early in the week? Who knows? Who knows? Did I say it was Tuesday? I don't know. Man, my brain is a mess today. But you know what's going to keep it on track is following high school basketball playoffs. Talked about the men's bracket on the other side of this break. Now, we have to go through, chat about the women's side of things because it is just as entertaining as the men's. Starting in the 1A bracket, let's go through and tell you who will be playing in round number 4. These games are going to be on March 8th, so Friday. Tuesday and Friday really are your basketball playoff days. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have Friday, Tuesday, and then next Friday should be the state championships. I'll have to double check the calendar on that one, but I'm pretty sure we're a week and a half away from state championships being played for high school basketball. So in the women's bracket, Mountain Heritage High School, the 1 seed, will be taking on Albemarle, the 4 seed. And Cherokee, the 3 seed, will be playing Bishop McGuinness, the 2 seed. So things as we get into round number 4, going chalk in the 1A bracket, not going the same way in the 2A bracket, although it is close. The 1 seed North Wilkes did move on. The 2 seed East Rutherford did move on. And the 3 seed East Burke moved on. But playing North Wilkes is the 12 seed Lincoln Charter down there in Huntersville. They move on to round number 4. So it would be the North Wilkes, the 1 seed, against the 12 seed North Lincoln Charter. And then you have the 2 and the 3 playing each other, East Burke and East Rutherford. That is your 2A bracket. In the 3A side of things, also not quite chalk. Almost, but not quite. You know, for some reason, the women's bracket this year, it was a little bit more chalk than I expected. We see not as many upsets here, which is why we get to where we are now with the 1 seed AC Reynolds playing the 5 seed Ben L. Smith and the 3 seed East Lincoln playing the 2 seed West Rowan. So just no real parity right there. Everything kind of fell into chalk positioning. Same thing with the 4A. Completely chalk. So if you filled out a bracket for a high school women's sports, hopefully you had all the top seeds moving on. 1 seed Watauga playing 4 seed Myers Park. 3 seed Charlotte Catholic takes on the 2 seed Lake Norman. And we've been talking about Lake Norman. The men's team also drew the 2 seed. So we'll see. That would be something, wouldn't it? If both men's and women's basketball for Lake Norman won a state championship as the number 2 seed in the state, that'd be pretty cool, in my opinion. You know what high school athletics should do is after we have the 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A championships, have them play each other. Why not? For fun. Doesn't mean anything. It's basketball. Nobody's going to get hurt. Football, I wouldn't suggest that. Not at all. You can't do that in football. But basketball, why not? I mean, we know how it's going to go. The 1A school would beat the 4A school. 2A school would beat the 3A school. And then I would assume the 1A school would win against the 2A school. But that might be a little closer than you think, which is why you play the game. So I think it'd be a cool idea. They're never going to do it. It's high school sports. They're not that serious about it. But I think it would be cool to see the different divisions of high school athletics play each other, especially all the state champions once we get there. But you know what? We have a long way to go before we get to state championships for baseball. And everybody is playing. We are multiple games into the season now. Let's start out the same way we always do, down in Mooresville. Man, not at the start to the season I was expecting. Yesterday, Mooresville fell to Independence on the road, 11-9. High scoring game there, but Mooresville unfortunately was unable to come out on top. Looking at Lake Norman, they were able to get a win here recently actually yesterday. They played South Iredell on the road, and Lake Norman came out victorious in that one, 5-1. Their next game is actually going to be tomorrow, again against South Iredell. That is a conference game for the 4A Greater Metro, South Iredell, Lake Norman. That's a conference game. So right now in the 4A Greater Metro Baseball Conference, Lake Norman's on top. They're 1-0 in conference. Them and South Iredell are the only two who have played a conference game so far. And they'll have their second one not too long from now. Let's look at Statesville High School. And man, this seems to be a theme with Statesville. They start their season and then they go on a break. 0-2 to start the year for Statesville, but they have an 8-day rest period now. Their next game isn't until March the 12th. We're 6 days away from that, but their last game was on the 4th, 2 days ago. That was Monday. They lost to West Lincoln in that one, 10-2. When they come back into action next week, they'll be at home playing East Lincoln. North Iredell has a game tomorrow. They take on West Wilkes. That game is going to be at 4:30. West Wilkes 2-1 to start their year. North Iredell won their first game of the year against Elkin, but their most recent game against Mount Airy, they weren't able to win that one. But these games are part of the West Wilkes basketball tournament hosted by West Wilkes. So we'll see how North Iredell can do in that tournament. They lost the first one to Mount Airy, so maybe they get a couple of wins here and end on a high note. But they play West Wilkes tomorrow, and then next week they get into some conference games. So we'll have all of that for you right here. West Iredell played yesterday. They played Hibritton High School. They actually got the win in that one, their first win of the year, coming away with a 7-1 victory. Off today, but then tomorrow right back into things on the road against Bunker Hill at 6:30. So West Iredell, their games are coming fast and furious at the start of the season here. They are 1-3 though, so still a long way to go on the season, but a slow start. Not the biggest fan of slow starts. I've told you that many times, but that's where West Iredell stands. And as far as the final school we'll chat about, South Iredell, you know what happened. They lost to Lake Norman last night. Final score 5-1 on that one. And they play Lake Norman again. This time it's on the road at 6:30 on Friday. And that is the update for you on all of your high school sports. Make sure you get out there and support. Let's turn our attention to the NFL. It's been a while. We had the Chiefs win the Super Bowl mid-February. Things kind of fell by the wayside with the NFL. We had some franchise tags that we talked about. Brian Burns, the Panthers, dropped their franchise tag on him. So Brian Burns is still under team control, but not under contract. It's a weird situation that they have going on right now. But the biggest news in the NFL right now is what is going on in the city of Buffalo. There's still things going on in Buffalo. So the Bills went into the offseason approximately $40 million over the salary cap. And the salary cap went up. So that didn't help. And how did the Bills address this situation? Well, they cut everybody. Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse, Saron Neal, Deontay Harry, Nyheim Hines, all of those players were cut from the Bills. That saved them about $36 million with those releases. And most of those players, they play a significant role on this Bills team. Tre'Davious White, one of their top corners. Yes, he had the Achilles injury, and yes, he's also had an ACL injury, so injury prone, but still he was one of their best players there. Jordan Poyer, aging safety, but still one of their better players. And their starting center, Mitch Morse. All of those players are going to be playing for somebody different next year. And not only that, things are still going on with the Bills. The Bills and Von Miller agreed to a renegotiated contract. The deal has a base value of $8.8 million this year with the chance to make $20 million in incentives. This is going to save Buffalo $8.6 million in salary cap. So there is your fake salary cap working going on. It's not fake. Eventually, those numbers are going to have to be paid. They're just pushing it down the line to get under the cap, which they were able to do. So a good job from Buffalo. But man, a flurry of releases today out of nowhere. The new league year starts on the 13th. All teams have to be under the salary cap by then. We'll be right back here on the Scoreboard. Don't go anywhere.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, rain tapering off as we head through the rest of the evening, really starting to dry it out after midnight tonight. Overnight low temperatures will dip down to around 50 by early on Thursday morning. Nice day on the way for Thursday. We'll start drying it out. Sunshine is back. We're up around 70 for the afternoon. And Friday looking like a mostly dry, comfy day of weather too. Night temperatures in the mid and upper 60s, but more rain on the way to start the weekend. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Got a Toyota? Get it serviced at Quality Car Care of Statesville. Looking for a great pre-owned vehicle? Quality Car Care has you covered at 2040 Old Mountain Road. Visit qualitycarcarestatesville.com.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-218-6440. 800-218-6440. 800. If you're 65 or older and Medicare is your main source of insurance, pay close attention right now and listen for details on how you may save thousands of dollars on your health care costs. Did you know that Medicare can pay for things like dental visits, home delivery of drugs, even a gym membership? Call us right now and learn how to unlock all your Medicare benefits. Medicare and supplemental plans that we provide can even offer you drug coverage with zero copays and pay for transportation to your doctors. Medicare plans can offer you wonderful money-saving benefits, but you've got to call now. We'll help you get the most out of your Medicare. Make this free, no-obligation call now. Save a ton of money on your health care costs and get the code to unlock all your earned Medicare benefits. Paid for by Senior Choice Plans. 800-508-5774. 800-508-5774. That's 800-508.
Learn how thousands of smart homeowners are investing about $1 to avoid expensive home repair bills. John, a former non-customer, said, "My air conditioner broke and I had to spend $1,900 to fix it." Jeff, a customer, wrote, "My air conditioner broke and I got a new one at no out-of-pocket cost." Mary, a former non-customer, wrote, "My heating system stopped running. I had to spend $3,000 to get a new one." Lisa, a customer, wrote, "My heater stopped working. I got it fixed at no out-of-pocket cost." For about $1 a day, you can have all the major appliances and systems in your home guaranteed fixed or replaced. Call now. If the lines are busy, please call back.
Call the Home Warranty Hotline now at 800-826-9149. 800-826-9149. 800-826-9149. That's 800-826-9149.
Whatever the story,
we have to end our dependence on China.
Have your say.
This debt crisis is going to set our economy back big time.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The National Transportation Safety Board is still waiting. The agency wants to interview the workers who were assigned to install Boeing 737 MAX doors, but Boeing hasn't turned over their names. Boeing CEO had promised 100% cooperation with the federal look at what went wrong when a 737 MAX 9 door panel blew off an Alaska Airjet mid-flight in January. The head of the NTSB told members of Congress as well 3 people who worked on the plane were not employees of Boeing's biggest supplier. Instead, they worked for contractors. The maker of Clearasil is calling safety its top priority and says when used as stored and directed, all Clearasil products are safe. But an independent lab tested a variety of products containing benzoyl peroxide and found Clearasil and others all contained elevated levels of the cancer-linked chemical benzene. On Wall Street, gains of 0.2 to a little more than 0.5%. The Dow up 76, the Nasdaq 92, the S&P 26. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, everyone, welcome back. You are here, second half of the Scoreboard today. 844 Studio 4. That'll get you right here into the studio and on the program with me. Chat about anything you'd like, honestly. We can talk about NASCAR, which is what we're about to talk about, but if you have something else on your mind, I don't mind. We could talk about whatever here. 844 Studio 4. Like I said, that'll get you right here into the studio. And we are going to chat NASCAR now because, honestly, talking about the Buffalo Bills and them cutting 5 of their key players to stay under the salary cap, that's about enough NFL excitement for a Wednesday in March for me. So the NASCAR Cup Series for race number 4 heads to the desert in Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona, that is where the championship will be held. Last time we were here, Ross Chastain won the race, but he did not win the championship. The championship was won by Ryan Blaney, who finished second in that race. And since we've moved to the final race being a battle between 4 drivers, highest driver running wins the championship. This is the first time we've had a race winner not in the Final 4. Just an interesting little tidbit there about Phoenix. So if you want to run good here, you're going to have, or if you want to be in the playoffs and if you want to compete for a championship, you are going to absolutely have to run good at Phoenix. So I know a lot of teams are going to have their eyes on this one, trying to get their cars as good as possible for this Phoenix race. Because when we come back here in November, there's going to be a lot more on the table. So I have betting odds right now for this weekend's race. Starting things off is Kyle Larson, the hot driver right now, coming off a dominating win at Las Vegas, where he led over 180 laps. Swept both stages and won the race. 6-1 is his opening odds to win that one. I'm a little surprised that he's the favorite. These are the drivers that I thought were going to be favored. Number 1, starting with Ryan Blaney, opening up at 7-1. He's the second favorite driver. And then third is William Byron at 15-2. And this is who I thought the favorite was going to be. Ross Chastain, opening at 17-2. You know, Chastain, he obviously, we talked about it, he won Phoenix, but we didn't give him credit enough for what he was able to do at Las Vegas late in the race. I think it was about 30 to go or so when the caution came out. He took 2 tires to get track position, put him up in the top 5, and he stayed up there pretty well on that final run. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chastain run well at Phoenix. I mean, he won the race, you know? So anyway, those are your betting favorites right now for Phoenix coming up this weekend. That race on Sunday. And actually, there are a lot of things going on at the racetrack this weekend at Phoenix because we have ARCA events going on. No trucks this week, but we do have ARCA. So this is how the schedule breaks down. Friday, we're going to see ARCA practice, ARCA qualifying, and Cup practice before 5 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock on Friday, we will have that ARCA race. The General Tire 150 will be on MRN and Fox Sports 1. On Saturday, we got quite a bit of on-track action. You have practice and qualifying for the Xfinity Series at 12:30 and 1 o'clock. Then you have Cup qualifying at 2 o'clock. And then later in the day at 4:30, the Xfinity race will be on. That's Saturday night. And Sunday, 3:30, the Shiners Children's 500 from Phoenix. Fox Sports will be covering that one. Or actually, that'll be on regular Fox, not on Fox Sports. That'll be on Fox. And broadcasting it on the radio will be MRN. You can hear that race right here on WSIC, carrying all the NASCAR races this year. And actually, it was a big storyline in Las Vegas. Noah Gragson, Kyle Busch going back to their home city to race at Las Vegas. Well, this weekend, we go to Alex Bowman's home city and home track. Here's what he says about how it is to race a weekend at your home track.
I mean, it's just another racetrack, honestly. I do get to see my family and friends a little bit. I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself to run well there, and that tends to not go very well over the years. But, just trying to figure out kind of what I need to do to get better there. Certainly not one of my better racetracks.
And he's right. It hasn't been one of his better racetracks as of late, but it is his home racetrack, maybe. You never know. Just being at your home racetrack could elevate you. You know, when he first started to get a chance in the Cup Series, and not by get a chance, I don't mean when he was driving the Dr. Pepper car. I'm talking about when he was filling in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He almost won a race at Phoenix, filling in that car. So he's got what it takes. It just hasn't been there for him over the past few years. So we'll see what Bowman is able to do. Also, speaking of Phoenix this weekend, it's early in the Cup Series season. There's a long way to go, but I'm going to continue to push this point home. This is going to be the most important race of the early season. And I've told you why. It's because when we get there in November, it's going to be for all the marbles. Now, you're going to want to figure out this track quick. And I'm sure that you can pull off of last year and say, all right, that's why I expect Chastain to run well. That's why I expect Blaney to run well. I would think Kyle Larson would run well there, as he is currently the favorite. These guys have won championships on this track. Chase Elliott won a championship at Phoenix. Those are the guys you're going to want to look at. People who have clinched a championship at Phoenix. Even Joey Logano. Eventually, those Fords are going to have to start performing because they haven't done all that well yet. But what do I know? I always say that. What do I know? I'm just out here yelling into a microphone. The standings as of right now, Kyle Larson leads it with Ryan Blaney second. He is the highest placed Ford. Martin Truex Jr., William Byron, and Ross Chastain round out your top five. Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Ty Gibbs, and Denny Hamlin are the top 10. Now let's go ahead and update you on some of our other drivers here, because we told you not only did we have a penalty knocking a few drivers down in the points, but also Joey Logano, he had a bad start to the year. A really bad start. Didn't finish Atlanta, didn't finish Daytona. So he's down in the 30s. Well, right now, after only one race, he's only up to 24th. He's got a long way to go. And for Brad Keselowski, it's even worse, actually. 28th right now in the standings. So a long way to go for a lot of these drivers. And there's some others down here, too. Stuart Haas Racing, Noah Gragson, 34th, Ryan Preece, 36th. This is the result of having two super speedways, two draft tracks to start the season. You have these guys in a hole to start the season, and they're good drivers. I'm sure they'll pull themselves out of it with a win. because that's all they need to do. One more segment on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, rain tapering off as we head through the rest of the evening, really starting to dry it out after midnight tonight. Overnight low temperatures will dip down to around 50 by early on Thursday morning. Nice day on the way for Thursday. We'll start drying it out. Sunshine is back. We're up around 70 for the afternoon. And Friday looking like a mostly dry, comfy day of weather too. With high temperatures in the mid and upper 60s, but more rain on the way to start the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. MuralFest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Sam Bush, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at muralfest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Coin collectors, get ready! The Statesville Coin and Currency Show is coming to the Statesville Civic Center March 16th and 17th, featuring over 60 tables of some of the finest coins around. For more info, contact Bill Brewer of Carolina Prospectors in Statesville. The Statesville Coin and Currency Show, Statesville Civic Center, March 16th and 17th. Eagle Rentals in Statesville is celebrating you and the wonderful community they serve. Come to Eagle Rentals Customer Appreciation Day, March 16th from noon until 4 p.m. Fun for the whole family. Kids and adults are welcome. Eagle Rentals Customer Appreciation Day, March 16th, 3435 East Broad Street in Statesville. Want to see a Tyrannosaurus Rex? How about a Triceratops? Dinosaur World Live is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Friday, March 29th. That's not the only fun family adventure coming to the Kane Center for the Arts. Dinosaur World Live, Friday, March 29th. For tickets and to see the entire spring lineup, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Hello, friends. This is Dwight with Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, inviting you to join the Gullion family and staff in praising the Lord for 30 years of providing you with trustworthy and inspiring books, Bibles, music, gifts, and supplies. We so appreciate your support and friendship over all these years. With locations in King and Statesville, North Carolina, visit us again soon for encouraging fellowship and essential provisions for your Christian life. Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, where the Bible stands.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And we are back. Final segment on this Wednesday. Oh, what a Wednesday it is. Man, the NHL, I'll tell you what, things are starting to heat up. We have trades happening. I told you, I warned you weeks ago. I said, look, if you don't know, the NHL trade deadline is the most entertaining trade deadline because people actually get traded. I know, what a wild concept. Actually trading someone. It's hard, you know? Sometimes you just don't want to do anything. Maybe you're right on the bubble and your teams could be in, they could be out, but you're like, yeah, I don't want to do anything. Doesn't really happen in the NHL. We had yesterday a trade between the Capitals and the Golden Knights, which we talked about. Anthony Mantha going to the Vegas Golden Knights, the champions from last year, the Stanley Cup champions, to Washington, a 2nd and 4th round pick. But there's more. Today, March 6th, trade deadline is until Friday. Today is Wednesday. Today there were 5 trades in the NHL. You know, in the NFL, we might get lucky if there are 5 trades total on deadline day. It doesn't happen a lot. Let's go through some of these because they're actually kind of big. And they do affect Carolina. Carolina is sitting there doing nothing while teams around them are getting better. Starting with the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers, they swept Carolina in the conference finals last year. They went to the Stanley Cup. They went toe-to-toe with the Vegas Golden Knights. Unfortunately, they came out on the other side of that, but they are trying to get better. Now, I know they're in the Atlantic. Carolina's in the Metro, different division, but same conference. We might have to match up with them again in the playoffs, and this is a huge move for Florida. Vladimir Tarasenko goes from the Ottawa Senators to the Florida Panthers for a 4th and a 3rd round draft pick. Not a lot of return for Ottawa there for a player that I consider to be top tier. Maybe not the best, maybe not as good as he once was even, because, man, he used to be something else, topping off with a career high in points of 82 points in a season. That was the 2021-2022 season. And don't forget, he played in St. Louis when they won the Stanley Cup in the 2018-19 season. Multiple time 30-goal scorer. He's scored 40 in a season before, but he is getting a little older. Last year, he was on the Blues. He actually got traded to the New York Rangers. Did decent in New York, but he wasn't able to be re-signed. Signs with Ottawa in the offseason, and now Ottawa goes ahead, sends him away to the number 1 team in the NHL. And yes, I do mean the number 1 team in the NHL. When you go and take a look at the standings and you sort it by the league, you don't look at anything else, they are one of the best teams in the NHL. Especially when you look at the divisions. Yeah, they're behind Boston, but they are pretty solid in that number 2 spot right now, and they have a chance to catch Boston. I do expect them to put up a fight at this point for the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Team that went to the Stanley Cup, getting better. The team that beat the Carolina Hurricanes last year, getting better. Carolina sits by and does nothing. One champion from a few years ago, the Colorado Avalanche, decided to make a move. This trade is 1 for 1. That's 1 for 1. That means a player got traded for a player. There's no picks involved. There's no other players involved. 1 player for 1 player. The Buffalo Sabres acquired defenseman Bowen Byram, and the Colorado Avalanche acquire forward Casey Middlestat. This is so confusing to me. Buffalo has a good defensive pipeline. I don't know why they aren't trying to get forwards. Who knows? I don't know anything. Anyway, moving on to the other trade from today, the Anaheim Ducks. I told you they were going to be a seller, and I told you the reason you're going to want to keep an eye on the Anaheim Ducks is because of their goaltender, John Gibson. Gibson's still under contract for a few years. Very good goalie, but Anaheim is not good. So they are trading assets and trying to acquire futures. So what they did was they sent Adam Henrique to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I believe. It's confusing. It's one of those 3-way trades. And this one just happened. Like, so recently, I'm still trying to make sure that everything gets sorted out here. But I think he went to Tampa. Edmonton's involved in this. Maybe he went to Edmonton. When I look at who's acquired what, it literally is saying right now that Edmonton and Tampa Bay both acquired Adam Henrique. Now, I know that the Anaheim Ducks traded him, but man, that's a weird one. Anyway, Anaheim, they receive a first-round pick and a fifth-round pick. And then the final one that happened today, so far, long way to go in the day, the New York Rangers, the team directly ahead of the Hurricanes in the standings, team that has eliminated them from the playoffs in the last couple of years, decided to make a trade. They trade with the Seattle Kraken for Alexander Wenberg, a very good middle six centerman, for a 2024 second-round pick and a 2025 fourth-round pick. Teams around Carolina continue to get better while the Hurricanes sit still. It's going to come back to bite them. You have to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. And Carolina is not being aggressive. They are still saying that Kochekov, Ranta, Anderson, if he comes back, that's the answer. Okay, we'll see how that goes. I don't think it's going to go very well. Before we get out of here for the night, I want to make sure I at least talk about a little bit of college basketball because it is huge right now. Last night, we had the 3 seed Purdue beat the 12 seed Illinois. That was a big game in the Big Ten. Number 7 ranked team, North Carolina, blowing out Notre Dame. Auburn, the 13th ranked school in the country, beating Missouri. And Florida in the SEC. This was a big one. They take down their rival, Alabama. Alabama was the 16th ranked team in the country. Final score in this one, 105-87. Not even close. And we do have some games in college basketball tonight. We do have the 1 seed in action tonight. That would be Houston taking on UCF. Number 4, Tennessee goes up against 17, South Carolina. This is a huge one right here. Number 2, UConn taking on number 8, Marquette. Number 6, Iowa State takes on number 20th ranked BYU. And the 15th ranked school in the country, Kentucky, takes on Vanderbilt. That is what's going on today in college basketball. Let's end this day on a high note, shall we? This day in sports history. On this day in 1922, Babe Ruth signed a 3-year contract with the New York Yankees, $52,000 a year. Did you see how much Ohtani signed for this offseason? There were like 8 more zeros at the end of that number. That's insane. $52,000 per year for Babe Ruth in 1922. That's incredible. Also on this day, Muhammad Ali, boxing legend. This is before. Oh, here. Okay, so this is what it is. Boxing legend Cassius Clay joins the Nation of Islam and changes his name to Muhammad Ali. That was on this day when he changed his name, 1964. And let's see, can we squeeze one more in here? Here we go. 1985, future undisputed world heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson KOs Hector Mercedes at 1 minute and 47 seconds in round 1 of 4 in Albany, New York, in his first professional fight. How about that? Mike Tyson, he knocked him out. Sorry, I'm gonna go now. Thanks for listening to the Scoreboard on WSIC. Oh boy, what a day it was. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a lot more about NASCAR. It's going to be Thursday. And also, I've been saying it, this is the last week of NCAA regular season basketball. The women are currently in conference playoffs, conference tournaments. So we'll have more of that for you tomorrow right here on the Scoreboard. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, have a good night, everyone.